This is going to be a short video about naming covalent molecules. So from last time, you know that in covalent molecules are between two non-metal elements. And why this is so important is that in order to name things correctly, you have to identify the bonding type. So make sure you know that covalent bonding is between two non-metals. And why that is that covalent bond, the rules of naming covalent bonds is that they always use prefixes. So what prefixes are is that prefixes are these little tiny words that are put in front of the element. And the prefixes that you have to know is that prefixes for one element, one atom will be mono. If you have two atoms of that, that's going to be your di. If you have three atoms, tri. And 4 will be tetra. And then if you have 5, penta like pentagon, hexa like hexagon, hepta like heptagon, octa like octagon, nona for 9, and deca for 10. So again, these are prefixes that are inserted before the element to show how many atoms that you have. So let's look at some examples of naming covalent compounds. The rule here is that you're going to name the first element normally by adding a prefix if there are two or more of that element. So if you have carbon, you name it carbon. You don't change it. But if you have two carbons, you're going to put dicarbon. Then you're going to name the second element. However, though, the ending has an IDE ending. And then you're still going to use prefix no matter how many they are. So if you have 1, you're going to use mono. If you have two atoms, you have di. If you have 3, you're going to use tri. So let's look at a couple examples. So the first one is CCl4. The first thing you want to do is this a covalent bond? So go in your periodic table, look for carbon, look for chlorine. Are both of these on the right side of the ladder in the non-metal section? Yes, they are. So then you're going to name this by naming the first one normally. So that's the first rule, right? You name the first element normally, adding a prefix if there are two or more of that element. So since you have just one, you're going to just say carbon, no changes. And then for the next one, this is chlorine. But because this is the second element, you're going to take out this ending and add IDE. And how many chlorines do you have? You have 4 of them. What's the prefix for 4? Let's check it out. For 4 is your tetra. So you're going to put that in front of your chloride and say tetrachloride. As simple as that. Next one, N2O5. Again, double check that this is covalent bonding. And you know that they are because nitrogen is a non-metal. So double check on that. You're going to notice that nitrogen has 2, so it's going to be di-nitrogen because you have 2 nitrogens, 2 nitrogen atoms for this bond. And there's 5 oxygens. So what's the prefix for 5? Just like a pentagon for 5 sides, this is going to be penta. So this is going to be penta. And oxygen is not going to be oxygen-ni, but you're going to shortcut all this and make it an oxide. So this is dinitrogen pentaoxide. That's it. This is going to tell you that you have 2 nitrogens that's going to be bonded to 5 oxygens. And last one of this from chemical formula to the name, you have SF6. So the first one is just sulfur. And then fluorine, because you have 6 of them, you have 6 atoms of fluorine, you're going to have hexa, just like a hexagon. And fluorine is going to change your fluorine into fluoride, just like what you will find in your toothpaste. So this is your sulfur hexafluoride. And now what if you were to convert this name to the chemical formula? Well, just break it down. Nitrogen is your element. How many do you have? Di, which is 2. Trisulfide. Sulfide is your element. Remember, this I has been added, right? This is just like sulfur, so this is your S. How many do you have? 3. So this is going to be your N2S. That's your naming of covalent compounds. Make sure you know how to identify it by looking at 2 non-metals. That's it. Thanks for listening.